No, sorry. So I've started recording. Welcome back, people. Let's start with Porter's Five Forces. And how are you guys doing on this Monday morning? Welcome back, Riksham. You have a question? You can type it in. Type in the chat for your question. By the way, the microphones are off. So, Riksham, even if you have a question for afterwards, I don't mind. So I'll wait for you to type in the question while I continue over here. Porter's Five Forces, if you are interested in the brief knowledge of Porter's Five Forces, let me suggest a website to all of you where you can get all this information pretty quickly. It is an old website. It's pretty archaic. You can go to quickmba.com, and let me just put up Porter. Porter's Five Forces. Here. Oh, where did I go? Oops. Here it is. Could be possible. I don't do Porter's Five Forces that much in terms of research because strategic management is not my specialty, but it could be. It must have been involved. We can look into that. Let's say Porter's 5 plus 1. Six-fourths complementers. And then threat of new entrant, supplier, bargaining, threat of substitute. They call the six-fourth is complementary fourth. Oh, where is my slide? Yeah, copy. Okay. Complementers. Yeah, very good. Bravo, Ruksham, for that insight. Complimentary. Okay, barriers to entry into the car market. Hello, Amisha. Amisha, I need to talk to you. Well, in the WhatsApp group, we have this guy called Harshbir Singh who's joined the class, and he's never there in the class, and somehow he was added to the WhatsApp group, so I need information on that. So please let me know how he was added. And since you're kind of like the class rep, not the delegate, but I would like to have more information. Anyways, the barriers to entry into the current market. How strong is the current market in terms of maybe lobbying or saturation or in terms of brand power? How, a large brand can usually block you out politically too, They would go to the government, they would lobby there, they could bribe the government ministers, and would say, don't let this company in. They could forcefully raise competition levers on you as well. It makes it difficult. They might align with current players to block you out completely. This is what we call it's a strategic move, but it is also a dirty move, by the way. Excuse me. Oh, coughing again. And it's going to be bright and sunny today, but it's going to be cold. That means my hay fever will be shooting through the roof. I love coffee. What a big blessing it is to have coffee. I hope all of you are doing fine and your families are fine, especially my Indian students. If you're back in India, not saying the other students are not important, but I heard there's a huge lockdown there. Please practice social distancing at all costs. Your life is the most important thing. Nothing more important than health. Health is wealth. Just look at Bill Gates. He's rich because he's healthy. Next thing is power of competition. Okay, direct rivals, a direct competitor to your industry. The best way to explain this is Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola's direct competitor are other soda or soft drink companies like Pepsi Cola, maybe like what do you call it? RC Cola, maybe like even any other brand like Red Bull, these are all soft beverages. So any competitor from a soft beverage industry is considered a direct competition. However, there's something called substitutes. Substitutes are those products that can fulfill the satisfaction of the need that you have. Like if you're thirsty, you can drink Coca-Cola, but you can also drink orange juice. You can drink mineral water. Orange juice and mineral water are not soft drink beverages in a way industry. They are from the water industry or they're from the juice industry. So down the line, they are beverages. They could be cold beverages, but they are substitutes to, I would say, satisfying the thirst, or I would say the need of quenching your thirst. That's the idea of substitutes. Take, for example, WhatsApp is not a social media. WhatsApp, it's a messaging service. However, it was substituting the need of social media of Facebook, and Facebook felt very threatened. Because Facebook felt threatened, it bought WhatsApp out. Instagram was also something similar. Instagram was not entirely social media, but it behaved like one, and it was a photo sharing app. Whereas Facebook did photo sharing, messaging, and all those things, Facebook felt threatened by the substitute and bought it out. You have many substitutes from the internet. Like for example, right now we're having a class. This is a substitute to live class, okay? And the demand for this is going up. In fact, it's gone so much up. Classes, free. So service like Blackboard, Zoom, Microsoft Teams have faced unprecedented demand recently. Well, in a way, this is, if we look at PESTEL, we look at environment, we look at politics and all those things, and we say, oh, the coronavirus has impacted our livelihood, our classroom environment, the law passed by the government or political scenarios to not go out. Social cultural trends also dictate medical things as well, or technological infrastructure dictate that we should stay at home and we have fast internet. So we can use these things. So this is your pastel working under 5 minutes in your head. That's why Ruksham, I said pastel is more of a thought process. So you think objectively about what you're doing right now on an online class, and you're using a substitute model to run a classroom. They provide us with Blackboard. We have, I would say, good enough internet. Not the best, but even for me as a provider, I don't have the best internet, but I'm not using video. I'm just using audio and I'm using slides. That way, my internet bandwidth is not highly consumed. But we are still okay with it. We can still communicate. We have the chat forum. I'm recording the slides. So this is a great way of indirect rivalry. Number 4 and 5 are to do with pricing, a lot with pricing. Bargaining power of customers. Do customers have more choice? Or do you have the only product that they need? For example, Apple was, they still price very heavily. When they came out with their smartphone, the iPhone, they the consumers did not have the bargaining power because it was one of a kind. So demand for their iPhone was very high, and therefore becoming high, the consumers could not dictate the price, but Apple could. However, with time passing by, the latest iPhones are priced lower than the previous ones because consumers have more choice. And the bargaining power of customers has gone up, and the failure of the iPhone 10 is a direct result of that. So they had to lower the prices to match consumers' demand. It's an economic value. Same goes with the bargaining power suppliers. Okay, like in the food industry, this matters a lot. Your supplier are people who provide you with all the food items, inventory. So if there's only one supplier for all the food items that you need, then control. That means they can dictate the pricing. This happened with oil. This happens with oil from the Middle Eastern countries. In 1973, I think I talked about it last time as well. When the oil crisis happened, I think they were going to Israel was going to war with an Arab country, and the OPEC nations, I think they came together to raise an oil embargo against the US and everything. And so petrol prices shot up. So that was a demand side. The supplier had power. Supplier of oil had power. Similarly, if you look at any supplier who has power, the opposite is the customer, or you, who is a purchaser, will have less power. If you have more power, just like Apple does, Apple can dictate how the manufacturers and raw material providers, they sell to them. Apple's like when it created it, we call the iPod. And by the way, this isn't a documentary. I think you can look it up. It's called Bloomberg Game Changers. I think you can still find it. Bloomberg Game Changers, Steve Jobs. Let me see if it's still available on YouTube. Maybe it is. Bah. This video contains content from SME who is blocked in your country on copyright grounds. Who is in another country at the moment? Can you check for me? And if it's available in your country. Judd, Lebanon. Yeah, can you please check this link I sent from YouTube? It's Bloomberg Game Changers Jobs. Let me see if I can find it on their account. There I am, Bloomberg Game Changers, Steve Jobs, Documentary Heaven. Oh, there's something called Documentary Heaven. Man, if I find it here, this is great. I think it's blocked now. Copyright claimed by Bloomberg Finance. And Bloomberg's website doesn't allow for it. I should have downloaded it. Let me see. All of them are linking back to YouTube. That's unfair. And I don't want to use a VPN. Video is unavailable. It's not available in Spain. God damn it. Oh well, one day. These documentaries should be available somehow. I'm going to see Game Changers DVD. It's the best I can do. Bloomberg Game Changers Season 1 DVD New York stock code. Let's go for shopping. It's not available. Came on 2010. Well, can I buy it online somehow? Can someone look it up? I want to see where I can buy this. I'm willing to buy this. I'm not joking. I'm willing to buy it. Unless someone pirates it for me. Something stuck in my throat. I replied to your text in the group. Yes, Amisha, I saw. But I've never seen him attend any class. Actually, he's in it because he was in our common PSB group from the beginning. Oh, okay. He's online. Archbeer's online right now. Huh? I see him. He's right there, but he's not replying. I don't know why. Archbeer, if you can hear this, please reply. Time to torrent stuff. I don't know if I can find it on torrent. If it allows me. Let me see my Coco browser. Because what happened in that documentary that I watched, Steve Jobs, when he made the iPod, he called in all the music producers like Sony, EMI, and he said that he's going to sell their music, and he's going to, the people who are going to buy the music record, I mean, one of the tracks, he's going to charge them 99 cents. So what did the supplier say? They said yes, they agreed to him because nobody says no to Steve Jobs. That was the answer. So he had even more power over the suppliers. So let me see. Should work. Sometimes the ISP also blocks out the authority suspended. Let's go here. Hopefully, if I can find it. No. That's a Pirate Bay. Bloomberg Game Changer. Anyone find any link to it? Anything else? Did even anyone make an effort of finding it? No, no luck for me. I can't find it. I couldn't find it. I'm sorry. Okay, so that being said, the other thing is complementers. As Ruksham pointed out, this is the sixth force. Complementary services are best way to maybe describe this is when we buy a shave kit for men, we have something called the razor and blade concept. The razor is the handle, and the blade is what you have to buy extra. Or printers. You buy the printer, you have to buy extra cartridges, and the cartridges are more expensive than the printer. So that's the power of complementers. That when you buy a car, you need to fill up with gasoline or petrol, diesel, or even electricity. That's a complementer. So without that complementary product or service, your product is actually useless. Just like you build an app, you need to put it either on the App Store or need to put it on the Android Play Store. So without that, your service is useless. But at the same time, Android and iOS are useless without external apps. So which one is a true complementer here? Well, think about those things. Do you think app technology is complementary to the Android operating system and the Apple operating system? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Everyone's gone to sleep again. Yes. Yeah. Which one? Edmondson, thank you. Yes, it is true. App technology are complementary to. Without them, you got nothing because they're building on your platform. It's just like software and operating system, or same with video games and the console. Without exclusives on like a PlayStation or Xbox, they had the power. And this is where PlayStation 4 excelled with the complementary services it gave out. It gave out PlayStation Network, and then it went to all this, I would say, the suppliers of video games and said, produce for me. And recently, I just found out, by the way, that they are buying out Konami Studios, or not really Konami Studios, Konami games rights licensing from Metal Gear Solid and games from Konami to release them on PlayStation exclusively. So this is because they know the complementary service will make them more money. You don't, well, to play online, yeah, you have to pay, but um, Xbox, I think it was free to play, but PlayStation, once again, if you have the PlayStation Network, you get a lot of other complimentary services like a free game every month. I think Xbox too. But now Google has done the same thing. They launched Google Stadia. It's not very successful, but they understand the future. By the way, even for PlayStation, it's it's kind of weird that they are compatible now with PC. They have PS Now, and then there's the Xbox. So I'm all confused as what direction is the industry taking? Because the PC division is totally different. They have Steam and GOG over there. Okay, anyways, moving ahead, enough about video games. I'll have to get back to video games as well. Internal audit. Strengths and weaknesses. Internal factors. Strengths must provide more value to the customer. Maybe. Uh, and image, patent protection. Customers, profitability, other company, brand image, boost, brand image, patent protection. What else can efficiency, processes. What else? Difficult to copy. I would put the word impossible as well. Difficult, impossible to copy. Can be based on resources, assets, capital, talent. Say resource, asset, capital, and talent, or what's the word? Strategic. Guys got that? Okay, I'm going to try to cover as much as I can regarding internal strengths. I'm standing up now. Sitting down, it's not good for health. Okay, let's do internal audit. What is internal audit? It is looking at your current situation of your company, current situation in terms of profitability, of sales, the cost, the company's infrastructure, like we saw before in class 2, that you can have a hybrid structure, you can have a centralized structure, decentralized, you can be an MNC, you can be divided product wise, you can be divided division wise, region wise, and all those things, right? But that is once again a company philosophy. But what lends to your strength? And here's some factors. Okay, a strength in itself must be unique, or if not, it must be difficult to copy. A strength is a skill set, well, I would say it's not a skill set, it is a capability where you possess a higher skill set than the competition. Okay, I hope you're noting that down because this is how SWOT analysis is done. Remember, once again, a SWOT analysis is based on being objective. Okay, and we try to find out all the objective reasons that make us better than the competition, or in the minds and hearts of the consumer, or in terms of operational efficiency. I'm pretending that you guys are writing this down. It gets lonely. Did you see a picture of this professor who was like 72 years old in Italy, and he was doing a Zoom conference from the school, and he put up a Pinocchio doll in front of him because he didn't want to feel lonely. Because talking to an empty class is very difficult. I'll share that image in a while. You can look it up. Italian professor with a Pinocchio. Anyways, so that being said, because we're being objective in our pursuit of what is our strength and what is our weakness, we look at our organization and research the current situation in terms of how many customers do we have currently. Is our product line? What does our product portfolio look like? What is our sales figure? What is our profitability? Uh, what's our shareholding standing like? Equity like? All of those things. The current situation of the company can also be found in his financial statements, like income statement, balance sheet, cash flows, and all those, or the annual statements. The annual financial reports mention all of these things. Okay, it's basically looking at your health of a company. So a strength can also be something such as providing value to customers. Okay, like for example, Apple, when it came up with the iTunes, it was very unique. So customers felt that this was something really great and provided them value. So one thing is also the customers themselves can be of great value. Who are loyal customers? Loyal customers evangelize or propagate your product to other people as well. Please give me a minute. I just need to grab a tissue. Wow, I hay fever. How many of you are in Paris? Are you suffering from hay fever? You know what hay fever is? It's allergies to pollen. Spring is here, but the weather in terms of temperature is still cold. So when it gets more sunnier, that's the day I suffer the most. When it rains, I don't suffer that much. I don't sneeze that much because the pollen count it goes down when it's raining. Usually when it's dry and windy, that's when I get affected the most. Another thing is the profitability of the company itself. That shows the strength of its product line, its portfolio. That is also a strength. A good strength can also boost the brand image. A brand equity is another term that you should be familiar with. When you learn marketing or maybe strategic brand management, they use the term brand equity. Okay, let me just write that down for you guys. God, wrong spelling. Brand equity. There's a formula for that as well, but you don't need to know that. There's also something called customer equity. Customer equity is basically the sum of all customer LTV. LTV stands for lifetime values. Lifetime value. This is also a way of measuring. So if you're being objective, how do I know the strength of my customer base? By the customer lifetime value calculation. How do I know the strength of my brand? By the brand equity formula. Also the market capitalization, the profitability, market cap. We talked about market cap before. Market capitalization. Basically the number of shares multiplied by the share price. Recently I just saw the market cap of Google go halfway down from 1.5 trillion dollars. It was their market cap. It went down to $700 billion. Google is down from $1 trillion to almost $300 billion. That is frightening what coronavirus has done to all these giants. And so at the end of the day, remember, celebrities are useless. Doctors, teachers, and essential staff that you see on the road, people picking up your garbage, they're the real heroes. I'm a hero too then. Yeah, more than 300, I think. Even more than that. They've been tumbling. You can go to Google Finance or Yahoo Finance and look at the results. It is incredible. All the markets are crashing everywhere. Isn't it scary? That's why I don't like to, what do you call it, put my money in the stock market. And number one, I don't have money. But I do have money for video games. What's I'm waiting. Should I buy Control right now, or should I wait for the sales? The sales doesn't mention. Well, March is almost over, but it doesn't mention that it was on sale. Have you guys heard of Control? It's a game where you're like almost like a Star Wars Jedi. I heard it's pretty cool. I hope it doesn't have any microtransactions. I'm replaying Horizon Zero Dawn. It's maybe the wrong time to play that game because it's very post apocalyptical type of game, but you never know. Maybe after March or so, we might have robots coming out to destroy us. We never know. Then also is your patent. The patents that a patent can also be on intellectual property. It can be on software functions. It can be on a mechanical function. It can be on a process that you invented, and then you own it, and you can sell that patent to other people. So, talking about video games, do you know like games like made by ID Software, like Doom and Wolfenstein? Very early on in the 2000s, they would uh, what do you call it, video game engine to other companies as a license, and they would reuse that I would say video game engine to recreate new games. And this has been done by many studios. They create something just like Horizon Zero Dawn Guerrilla Games. They made the engine for Death Stranding, which is Kojima Studios. If you know about this, it'll be pretty interesting. So, Kojima was looking into buying an engine from someone who he could trust, and he thought that Guerrilla Games from the Netherlands could provide that. Now, a Japanese game producer buys out the license from a company. Now, that's pretty cool, isn't it? But this is very common in the industry because this way you can replicate things very quickly. It's also very common in the software industry too, where you can buy out a coding engine and replicate all you need very quickly as well. Excuse me. Next is also the efficiency of processes, the processes that you build. If you are a manufacturing company and your processes are efficient, that means you can bring down the cost of production very quickly. And you can also send your product to the market, which we call turnaround time, very quickly, just like what Zara does. Zara can copy high-end fashion, demand the supplier to produce all the goods they want, manufacture them a collection, and put it on the storefront in 21 days. 21 days, 3 weeks is nothing. That is super fast, and that's how Zara excels. Zara is also a vertically integrated company, meaning it owns its own suppliers and its manufacturers and its distributors and also its retailers. So it works blindingly fast in terms of, I would say, retail management, and having a new collection out in 3 weeks on the storefront. This is nothing to joke about. So this is efficiency of processes. Then there's something you call your processes or your strength being difficult to copy or almost impossible. This is where your strength is amazing. It's highly valued because of its complexity. Just like Amazon Prime. Prime function is an algorithm that they created to judge what we call basically uh, forecasting analytics or predictive analytics. They try to forecast what you'll buy next. So it's almost difficult to copy because Amazon has a lot of servers and a lot of computing power. They have the best minds on the business, so it's not easy to copy. Then it also should be very unique, if not exclusive. I already mentioned this, and it can be based on also the resources that you own, the assets that you bought out, the capital that you've built up, the talent that you acquired, or maybe you're in a strategically very interesting position regionally that it lends to your power. Meaning, you're, let's say, if you're a certain brand, let's say you're Ford Motors and you're based in the US, that means you have more brand power in a way because American people like buying American products. So that's a thing. Okay. So that being said, do you guys have any questions? No, no questions. All good in the neighborhood. Excuse me. Okay, now let's talk about weaknesses. I'm taking this nice and slow because I want everyone to be on the same page. And okay, so weaknesses are also internal to the company. They don't come from any outside factors. They can be based on your resources. They can be based on the lack of resources. They can be based on lack of talent, lack of skills, lack of processes, lack of managerial skills, and many other things. So I usually call them these skill levels. That could be one thing. So you take your strengths and you take you don't have to invert it 100%, but you can invert I would say, the level, meaning if someone has high level, you might have a weak level in that department. There can also be capabilities that you do not possess at all. Okay. So over here, what I said is a philosophy my teacher told me in strategic management. The best philosophy regarding strengths and weaknesses is to starve your weakness and feed your strengths. If you're good at something, continue to build on it. Okay. So that's what Apple kind of did. McDonald's did the same thing. All the large companies out there that you see in their historical value, they continued on their strength. Apple's strength was their brand power and their products. And they continue to focus on it. Not the best way, but they know that. Same with Amazon. They knew their focus was on selling, I would say, retail items with the lowest price and with the biggest variety, and they kept on focusing on it. Okay, McDonald's did the same thing. McDonald's was something that's always available. Everywhere you go, there's a McDonald's. Okay, it doesn't have the best tasting burger, but their quality is very consistent. So when it comes to weaknesses, if you don't possess it, you can outsource it. That's what Apple did. Apple outsourced its manufacturing to China. Why not? Think about it. It also outsourced designing of the Apple iPhones, and all those things because it felt someone else could do a better job. They lacked in that department. Same goes for Microsoft. Microsoft actually bought out Skype. They did not make Skype, by the way. You know that? And all software companies, most of them, that's what they do. Facebook acquired Instagram, and it significantly improved its own video chatting software that way. I find WhatsApp codec to be as good as Line application. I don't know if you've heard of Line. Maybe Misha has heard of Line application. Um, Line app is made by a Korean company called Naver. Got very popular in Japan as well. Amisha, have you heard of it? Is she here? Amisha? Amisha, are you there? I don't see her. I see her. I see you, Amisha. Anyways, so you can outsource a weakness. If you're not good at something, you can ask someone else to do it for you, provided you have the money to do so. Okay? Yes, with a double S. Then comes the part about divestiture. Divesting is the opposite of investing. You have a product portfolio, and you think, you might not be very successful currently, but you're saying, okay, there are three things I can do. I can harvest, prune, or sell off this division. Harvesting is that you go through one more production cycle and you try to promote the good in the market, B2C wise, and then if it doesn't succeed, you shut it off. Okay. Then pruning is one step ahead of harvesting. Instead of going through the production cycle, you only go through the sales channels and you try to sell the goods with the heaviest discounts and promotion from different internet retailers or different resellers, and see if you can finish off your inventory. If none of that works, you have the final version is selling off your assets. That's a divestiture, okay? That you're like, all right, I'm not doing well. I'm going to shut down this division, or I'm going to sell off the assets. Mark and Spencer did that with his clothing retail outlets throughout the world internationally. It just shut down. That's also a divestiture. Maybe they sold off their division or something, or they sold off their clothes. They went for maybe harvesting, then they tried pruning, and they're like, we can't do anything. You have to sell off the assets and shut it down. So this is also part of internal audit. Okay, so now you will objectively write down your strengths and weaknesses, what you're good at and what you're not good at. and how they provide value to you. Weaknesses can also provide value to you. Do you know that? But you might have to develop them in the future. With that being said, let us build. Oh, this is the wrong slide. The SWOT. And according to Victoria, we have to make a. Should I make it 8 by 8? 2 by 2. Boom. I don't like the color. How do I change the color? For my shapes. Oh, there we go. You guys like orange? No. So, oh, I should have added another table. We'll just write internal. That's a white. Strength is internal. Weaknesses are internal. We have opportunities are external, and we have threats, which are external. Truth be told, where does all of this come from? Okay, this comes from PEST plus 5 forces. Okay, so I'm just going to copy paste this and put this here. Same thing. Let me show this. Okay, this comes from your internal audit, strengths, and all. I hope you can see. Yep, it's visible. So remember, I'm a fast food company who wants to enter France. What are my strengths? Let me label my strengths. Number one, S number one. My first strength is that I have, let's say, knowledge of fast food and retail franchising. Strength number two, product portfolio, very profitable. Strength of my product. Strength number three is, once again, let's say, no, that would be an opportunity. Strength number three, positive brand image. Okay, I have three strengths. Sorry, Victoria, I'm making a table. Okay, come on, man, I could joke too, right? All right, let me write down a few weaknesses. Weakness number one is poor understanding of the French market. Weakness number two could be considered a weakness, but let's say French market, no European presence, maybe. No European brand presence or exposure. That's a weakness at the time being. Opportunities, let's seal this baby. Now, remember, we try to be objective. Opportunity number one. I'm getting so many emails. Oh, it continuously distracts me in the notifications. Sorry, I'm just checking the emails. Man, this dude still hasn't replied. I'm gonna kick him out. Let's see the opportunity from my PESTEL analysis. Let's go back a bit. My research data points. Which one do you think were my positive points? This one. Let's make this. Let's color this green. This is a green highlight. The fast food categories. And let's take some, what do you call it, negative points, threats, taxes, and there's protection against, oh shit, fast food, but there's no audit box. Yeah. Okay, I'll take these just very objectively for the time being, for the sake of putting up an example. Okay, so the first opportunity, foreign brands are highly receptive. Brand is open to it. The market open. Market is very open-minded about Indian food. Second opportunity number 2. Oh, where'd I go? People are tech savvy, so I can use that to my advantage. People are tech savvy. People are tech savvy and may use I would say the online platforms to order food, but put that in our TOES matrix later. Now come to threats. Control B, P1. What was the first threat? Taxes are high. Where did it keep going? High rate taxes are good. Number 2. Oh, why is it like this? The same size. Protection against fast food. Protection against fast food consumption. Unconscious. I never know the spelling of conscious. Conscientiousness. There's one spelling I'll never get right. I'm so glad I'm not in the spelling bee. There are people who do so well in spelling bees, and you're like just wondering, my God. And I know how to spell the word cat. Is it K-A-T? Is it C-H-A-T? How do you spell cat? It was a stupid joke I heard as a kid. Mr. Chopra, please pass me the chemistry book. And the guy said, you idiot, it's not chemistry. See, it's pronounced as K, it's chemistry. I said, okay, Mr. Chopra, can you pass me the chemistry book? That's so corny. I know. It's a dad joke. Now, we have our SWOT analysis. Yay, now you can start clapping. You've done your SWOT analysis. But this does not mean anything. That's the problem. All of you guys, when you make a SWOT analysis and hand it over, no, that's incorrect. It's pronounced as cat. Why not a Q? All right. Think about it, cat. And in French, it's written as chat. But, chat. But the CH can also be pronounced as que in some cases, right? Why isn't it giraffe? I'm just wondering. Kit Kat, remember? Aha, now I got you. So the SWOT analysis is nothing but a listing of attributes internal and external to the company. Okay, we use PESTEL analysis and the Porter's 5 forces, or as Rookjam would say, 6 forces, to feed the inputs of the analysis factors into opportunities and threats. We did an internal audit and we fed those factors relevant to strengths and weaknesses to what we have right now. We labeled 3 strengths, 2 weaknesses, 2 opportunities, and 2 threats as objectively as possible, my friends. This does not say anything in terms of strategic decisions. It's only a listing of attributes. Please remember this. Next time when you do a SWOT analysis and you hand it over, and if a teacher says, okay, thank you for the SWOT analysis, this is incomplete because you can't make a decision on this. This means nothing. It's like when you go for a blood test and the doctor, gives you your blood test and it's all the organs. You're like, I don't know what this means. He would say, the lab would say, go to your family doctor. They would tell you what it means. When I got my lab results 2 years ago, I went for a bilan, I just say a complete blood check, I would say health check. I didn't understand most of the things. So I went to the doctor and she said, "Oh, you're perfectly fine. However, your uric acid is very high." And I'm like, "Why is that?" She said, "Because you drink a lot of alcohol." And I said, I don't drink alcohol. So, oh, then that means you eat a lot of meat. You eat a lot of red meat. And that means when your uric acid is high, it can cause you problems such as gout. And I'm like, oh, so she, a doctor then strategized my health plan. Meaning she said, stop eating this, don't drink that, don't do this. I said, I don't drink alcohol, but you drink. She said, yeah, do you drink soda? I'm like, a lot. So stop drinking soda. It's not good for your health because it causes osteoporosis. It can be bad for the bones. Well, right now, when you're young, you want to eat everything, drink all that Red Bull, and eat all that greasy French fries and kebab. But in the future, it impacts you. So what we have next is actually another table, according to Pia, which we call, oh shit, this is the wrong slide. The toes matrix. So I'm going to control this and control D this. And it's called a toes matrix, but it means nothing, by the way. Okay. It's not the opposite of anything. So let me just delete this and add another table. I could draw a table too, but it would be better. How many? Wait, let me see if I can draw a table. Oh, there's a drawing option too. I'll insert a table instead. Number of rows. 4. There's usually 3 rows. Number of columns. It's also 3. In fact, we'll just leave this white. And we'll color this. This color. This color. Okay. And I'm going to go back and copy the strengths and weaknesses, okay? Oh, damn it. I like my beatboxing. Oh my god, why do I keep doing this? Control C, down here, opportunities. See, down here. Okie dokie. Post matrix, what do we do? Combine. Oh my god, this is really. Combine internal factors with external factors to create strategies objectively. I keep mentioning the words objective, okay? I'm going to combine internal factors. Just in case you don't know what internal factors are, they are my strengths and weaknesses. S and W with external factors, which are opportunities and threats. Measured objectively, which are over here. We're going to combine strength with opportunities. Okay, next we're going to combine strength with threats. Then we're going to combine weakness with opportunity. And lastly, the most difficult one, weakness plus threats. Okie dokie. Any questions? Just in case you're curious. Oh, no. That was fast. No questions whatsoever, bro. Just chilling. I'll give you an idea. Here, this is something that could be very interesting to all of you. Mind tools. Okay, just in case if I have to give you a reference or something. Okay. Join Mind Tools. Okay. So I'm gonna use the word because my mind is. I am exhausted. I went to sleep last night at 3 a.m. and my wife is scolding me. What were you doing all night? Okay. Well, truth be told, I was working. And teaching online, you have to be once again. You have to create calendars. You have to create assignments, and you have to once again strategize communication. It is exhausting, and people think it's not. I'll tell you, it is very exhausting. Become a teacher, I would say. I actually do become a teacher. Once in your life, you should do coaching. It also helps you learn things as well. Hang on. Okay, we're done. Last one. The last one is the most difficult part. Are you guys with me? Holla if you hear me. Yas, yas, yas. 3 people are awake. The others are all asleep. Yeah, okay, 4, 5, 6. How do I do a test to see if you guys are all awake? Okay, so as you can see, the idea of a TOES matrix is is to go beyond the idea of simply listing your attributes. You want to identify what we call strategic options. Usually in strategic management, you'll learn that when you have a strategic or 2 or 3 strategic options, you'll have to objectively measure the benefits of either one and see which one is much more better than the other, and then select one strategic option to go after. Okay, so over here they say SWOT or TOES analysis helps you get a better understanding of strategic choices that you face. Remember that strategy is the art of determining how you will win in business and life. It helps you ask and answer the following questions. And how do you make the most of your strengths, circumvent your weaknesses, capitalize on your opportunities, and manage your threats? Okay, so I'm going to copy paste this for all of you guys. As you guys are lazy and you guys don't. Well, I was like, oh, we get the slides. I know you cannot have the slides. In fact, I'm going to save this and never going to show this to you guys again. TOES matrix, save. So before we proceed, I would like you to read that article that I sent you, the Mind Tool ones. And when we come back, I will proceed to finish this. I'm taking another break and then we'll proceed to the third session. Try to finish before, and then I'll give you maybe a small exercise to do or something, and then we'll do it together. Well, we'll do the exercise together. So have a look at this. I am stopping the recording, but I'm keeping this open for you guys to see. And I'll, so if you need to, what do you call it, copy paste this and go forward and read the article as well, I will give you some time to do so. So let's take a break and reconvene at 11:15. Okay? We will be back. Okay, I'm stopping the recording.